Be mindful and grounded. August is not what it seems. On the surface, it appears calm, uneventful even, like a month simply passing through with routine sunlight and familiar dates. But beneath that calm is an architecture of subtle pressure, an energetic maze crafted to test those who have been quietly chosen for something greater. You may not feel it at first. You may even think it's just another stretch of summer. But if you are sensitive, intuitive, or walking a spiritual path, you'll notice something's different. This month is not passive. It is observant. It is watching, listening, and testing thresholds. And you, in all likelihood, are one of its focal points. Most of the world walks through August unconsciously. To them, it's vacations, heat waves, and countdowns to fall. But you're not most people. And this August? It isn't functioning like any other month on the calendar. It's a spiritual pressure chamber disguised as everyday life. Nothing about it is random. It has been silently calibrated to strain the nervous systems of those who carry light codes, ancient memory, or sacred knowledge. In other words, you. And it's not here to ruin you. It's here to read you. It's here to see if the foundation you've built is sturdy or if it still fractures when tested. It's a month of subtle initiations hiding in plain sight. The energy field this month is unusually loud, buzzing, fragmented, emotionally erratic. And in that noise, certain unseen forces can slip in undetected. Not malicious necessarily, but observant, opportunistic. They are attracted to disruption, to cracks in your emotional field, to any unguarded access point. And this month, their primary tactic is subtle provocation. They want you impulsive. They want you overstimulated. They want you in the kind of reactive state where you give away your wisdom without even realizing it. And the most potent way to extract energy now isn't through chaos. It's through conversation. August uses language as a mirror and a trap. Be careful what you speak. Your voice is your frequency, and this month it's being measured. Every word you say carries more weight than usual because the atmosphere is highly responsive. It's not about censorship or fear. It's about understanding the energetic consequences of self-exposure. You don't need to isolate yourself. You don't have to become invisible. But you do need to become illegible to those who would try to read you for the wrong reasons. This is a time to cultivate mystery. Not to deceive, but to protect. Not every spiritual truth needs an audience. Not every insight needs to be posted. Sharing everything, especially online, creates a kind of spiritual opening, a portal through which unseen entities, even if cloaked in light and soft voices, can siphon your essence. These forces don't seek connection. They seek access. And the more you explain, the more you unravel the sacred encoding of your journey. Wisdom becomes currency in the wrong hands. You must guard your rituals now. Your practices, your revelations, your boundaries, keep them sacred. Your inner world is a temple, not a broadcast channel. The real ones will understand your silence. The hungry ones will try to pry it open. Learn the difference. This month, many will appear as friends, as fellow seekers, as lightworkers offering unity and healing. But energy never lies. Some of them are not here to connect, but to collect, to extract, to probe, to drain. You don't need to confront them. Just become unreadable. Be water. Be wind. Be unseen in plain sight. There is something deeply sacred about what you've survived. The betrayals, the losses, the quiet nights of breaking that no one else saw. These weren't just hard times. They were rites of passage. And in this month, those rites are being revisited, not for remembrance, but for evaluation. Are they still alive in you? Or have you truly integrated them? The challenge is this. Speaking about your past too openly now reactivates its emotional charge. Even when the words feel empowering. Even when it feels like healing. August doesn't just hear your words. It responds to your vibration. When you speak of what nearly broke you, you're not just telling a story. You're calling the energy of that story back into your field. And this month is a mimic. It listens for old wounds, then sends new forms to test whether they're really closed or simply covered. Different names, different faces, but the same lesson underneath. Before we move ahead in the video, I want to let you know that if you've gained even a little value from my efforts, please consider donating through Super Thanks or via PayPal. It really helps motivate and inspire us to keep going. There are some victories that can only remain victories if they are kept silent. Speaking them aloud turns them into invitations. So before you share your survival, ask, is this empowering me or leaking what I fought so hard to protect? Understand this. Your story is not entertainment. Your transformation is not spiritual content. You didn't endure the fire just to perform your healing. You walked through that inferno to reclaim your power, not to trade it for a little validation or visibility. You are not being asked to go mute. You are being asked to discern. Your voice this month is a spell. Every sentence is either weaving protection or unraveling it. And remember, August rarely attacks you directly. It uses other people's mouths. The name you casually mention, the ex you vent about, the friend who hurt you, each time you speak of them, even with no malice, you reactivate an energetic tie. You think you're reflecting, but in the spirit world, you're reopening a cord. This month is full of what could be called cord hunters. Energies that seek reconnection through your voice, your memory, your attention. They don't need your permission, just your focus. Be careful where you place it. You have already done the hardest part, surviving what tried to consume you. Don't let this be the month you dilute that power by overexposure. Silence is not weakness. It is the shield of the initiated. Be careful how you speak about what you've let go of. Even when something or someone has been removed from your life, speaking about it, no matter the reason, no matter how justified, can start stitching back threads that were finally severed. Your reasons might be valid. They might have been toxic. The ending might have been painful, necessary, overdue. But that doesn't change the energetic truth. In this season, words are not neutral. August is not offering you a clean space to vent or process. It's offering illusions of healing wrapped in temptation. Be wise enough to see the bait and strong enough to choose silence over self-sabotage. Let your separation speak for itself. Let the distance be your declaration. There is sacredness in what you no longer say. You do not need to revisit it, explain it, justify it. Not even to yourself. This isn't avoidance. It's energetic protection. Silence in this moment is not weakness. It is shielding. It is strategy. When you choose not to speak about who or what no longer belongs in your field, you anchor yourself deeper into your healing. Because true disconnection isn't just about who you stop talking to. It's about who you stop talking about. And if someone tries to draw you back into those old conversations, gently shift. Let the topic change. Let the thought pass like a cloud moving across the sky. There's no need to wrestle with memories that have already had their time. The past doesn't require your voice, especially not when your future is leaning in, listening closely, watching for any sign that you're still looking backward. And believe this, something is listening, not metaphorically, literally. Energies, frequencies, entities, and even your own higher self are tuned in right now, waiting to see where you place your focus, waiting to see if you speak life into the new or resurrect what was meant to stay buried. Not everything you've received is meant for public consumption. If something was recently shown to you, whether it came as a dream, a sudden vision, a message that struck your spirit like lightning, it came to you for a reason. Not to be broadcast. Not yet. This is a time for sealing what you've been shown, not spilling it. What Spirit gave you wasn't just knowledge. It was instruction, permission to act, not permission to announce. And if you share that vision too soon, before it has time to root and grow in the quiet, you risk distorting it, or worse, watching it be mimicked or twisted into something you no longer recognize. There are energies in the air now that look like truth but are actually imitations. False lights, clever mimics, spiritual echoes that speak in the same tone as your intuition but with a different agenda. They want access to your clarity. They want to copy your revelation and repurpose it before you've even had a chance to embody it. And when you speak prematurely, when you try to validate your insight through outside confirmation, you open the door to distortion. You invite interference. You don't need proof from others to know that what came through was real. You don't need applause to confirm you've been chosen. Some visions need time in the dark to develop strength. Some truths can't survive the noise of being spoken too early. Hold them close. Let them breathe in your chest before they breathe in the world. Trust the timing. Trust that what is meant to shine will shine, and that right now, silence is not the absence of action. It's the preparation of power. August will bring signs, little bursts of momentum, small wins, quiet breakthroughs. You may experience a strange sense of peace where there was once chaos. Someone you once felt invisible to might finally see your worth. You might start to taste the rewards of your inner work. And yes, it will feel good. It should. But that's when you must be the most discerning. Because this energy, as bright as it seems, comes with traps disguised as celebration. The need to prove, the need to declare your evolution, the desire to show the world just how far you've come. Resist it. This month, what seems like harmless sharing is often a siren call to the watchers. Not just human ones, but subtle beings, energetic eavesdroppers, both physical and non-physical. They are drawn to unguarded light. Many don't mean harm, but they will take what they can. Attention, energy, clarity, momentum, often unconsciously. Others, more aware, will seek to mirror your elevation and use it for themselves. They can't stop your rise, but they can slow it by creating noise, confusion, or distraction. Don't hand them your blueprint. An ego, clever as ever, will disguise itself as confidence. It will whisper things like, "You've earned this. Let them know. Be seen." And yes, you do deserve to be seen, but not all visibility is safe. Not all recognition is pure. This is not a warning meant to create fear. It's an invitation to step into spiritual maturity. You're not hiding, you're building. And buildings under construction don't need to be toured before they're ready. The scaffolding is still exposed. The frame is vulnerable. Premature exposure invites unnecessary critique. Let the work complete itself before you reveal it. Let others speak loudly. Let them post, brag, broadcast, seek applause. That's not your lane right now. Your silence is not emptiness. It's the sound of your destiny being assembled piece by piece. It's not about shrinking. It's about grounding your power in a way that doesn't need external confirmation. You're not interested in momentary claps. You're aiming for legacy. And legacy is built in the shadows before it ever shines in the spotlight. One of the greatest dangers you'll face when your guard starts to ease, that something inside them begins to pull. It never starts with aggression. It starts with compliments. Familiar phrases like, "You're one of the few people I feel safe with," or, "I've never met anyone who just gets it the way you do." They sound like appreciation. They feel like connection. But look closer. These aren't just affirmations. These are probes. These are soft-touch pressure points. Subtle hooks designed to trigger a part of you that still longs to be fully seen, to be fully heard, to finally share the deep spiritual journey you've walked, often alone. That's the real vulnerability this month. Not being alone, but finally believing you're no longer alone. And in that moment, opening the floodgates of your sacred knowledge. And whether the other person is aware of it or not, whether they mean to or not, they become channels. Vessels used by energetic currents designed not to connect, but to collect. When you start revealing the inner architecture of your path, your rituals, your practices, your visions, you are giving shape to things that were never meant to be handled lightly. You're pouring your essence into a container that can't hold it, or worse, into a container that was never meant to hold it at all. This isn't about paranoia. This is about energetic discernment. Because not all curiosity is innocent. Not all spiritual interest is pure. And not all listeners are here to witness you in reverence. Some are here to study. Some are here to mimic. Some are here to take just enough from your story to reflect it back to you. Distorted, diluted, used out of context. In August, false vulnerability becomes a tool. Not everyone who cries with you is connecting. Some are only mirroring. And there is a difference between resonance and replication. If you've been walking a spiritual path for years, if you've done the deep inner work, endured the solitude, peeled back layer after layer of illusion, then you know how sacred it is to finally feel seen. That ache for real connection, for someone to get it, to speak the same spiritual dialect as you. That longing is what's being targeted now. Not out of malice, but out of energetic strategy. Because when you begin to reveal the sacred codes you've been entrusted with, codes earned through shadow work, sacrifice, and silence. You're not just sharing. You're handing over the blueprint. And when the blueprint is exposed before the structure is fully built, it becomes vulnerable to replication, interference, even sabotage. You don't have to isolate this month. This isn't about hiding in the shadows or cutting off communication. But you must be precise in what you give and to whom. You can still be kind. You can still listen. You can still show up in the room. But never mistake warmth for safety. A pleasant tone doesn't always mean trustworthy energy. And spiritual curiosity doesn't automatically translate to spiritual alignment. Some people are not companions. They are recorders. Quiet observers who seem deeply interested but are merely gathering, storing, and transmitting. By the time you sense something is off, it may already be too late. Your words have already left you. Your truth has already been transferred. And what you thought was a connection turns out to be a transaction. This August doesn't bring storms that roar. It brings winds that whisper, a pressure that doesn't strike but lingers. Subtle, persistent, ambient. You'll feel it in the strange stares from strangers, in the texts that arrive without context, in the coincidental meetings that somehow don't feel coincidental at all. You may not be asking for attention, but somehow you are receiving it. And while a portion of that attention may be genuine, well-meaning, and aligned, another portion is not. There is something deeper occurring. This month is a spiritual spotlight, and without trying, you're glowing under it. You might be quieter than ever, posting less, speaking less, staying in your own space, and yet still people are noticing you, feeling you, picking up your signal. The frequency you've built through your healing is now louder than words. And not everyone is drawn to your light because they admire it. Some are drawn to what they think they can take from it. That's why this month isn't just about protecting your energy. It's about learning how to misdirect it. Let them see the version you choose, not the core you protect. You don't have to lie. You simply have to reserve the whole truth for those who have earned its weight. Being mysterious is no longer an aesthetic. It's a requirement. You are not just being seen by people. You're being read by forces, frequencies, and archetypes that move through people. And these energies don't approach you head-on. They approach you through compliments, curiosity, the gentle art of conversation. They ask about your spiritual practices, the books that changed your life, the things you do to maintain your clarity. And before you know it, you're teaching without meaning to. You're unraveling your sacred path into someone else's notebook. Not every inquiry is rooted in learning. Some are masked attempts at access. You want to be generous. You want to help. You want to share what worked for you because you remember what it was like not to know. But this month, sharing too freely is like leaving your home wide open at night. Lights on, door unlocked, while something circles the block. It's not always about theft. Sometimes it's about distraction, about diffusion, about being pulled just far enough off your center that you start questioning what you once knew so clearly. That's the real test of August. Can you hold your knowing without needing to explain it? Can you sit in your sacred power without needing to translate it for those who haven't done the work to understand it? This isn't the time to perform your growth. It's the time to embody it, quietly, firmly, without wavering. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them create their versions of your story. You don't need to correct anyone. You don't need to explain your steps. You're not here to narrate your evolution. You're here to live it. And when the questions come, and they will, feel into the vibration behind the words. Listen not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Not every question deserves an answer. Not every conversation is worthy of your truth. The sacred isn't sacred if it's shared without discernment. This month demands something subtle, something rare, something most people won't even realize is sacred until they've leaked too much to get it back. August isn't asking you to hide, but it is asking you to move differently, to show up with presence but without explanation, to give warmth without surrendering your energy, to be open-hearted but unavailable to those who haven't earned access. It's about learning to be grounded in your power and generous in your spirit, while still remaining unreadable, untouchable, and protected from anyone not divinely cleared to be near your truth. You are being called to master an ancient, nearly forgotten art, walking with unseen authority, moving with a force that is unspoken, becoming potent without becoming loud. Let others look. Let them wonder, but don't let them see. Because true power, the kind that can shift timelines and shake rooms without ever raising its voice, is rarely announced. It is held. It is felt. It is guarded like a sacred fire. When people ask questions that push too deep, when they lean in with curiosity that feels a little too pointed, a little too persistent, don't take it as a compliment. Don't fall into the trap of assuming that every seeker is safe. Not everyone who shows interest is here to support. Some are simply drawn by the light, and they want to consume it, not honor it. They don't have to be malicious to be draining. Sometimes their curiosity alone is enough to pull you out of alignment. You don't owe answers to everyone who asks. In fact, the more pressure you feel to explain yourself this month, the more you should lean into silence. Be present, but unpredictable. Be seen, but never fully mapped. Let them witness your grace, but not your blueprint. Let them feel your energy without knowing its source. August is not the month to hand out your spiritual coordinates. Because yes, if you felt watched lately, you're not imagining it. You are being watched not just by people but by frequencies, energies, entities, timelines. Some are cheering for you. Others are testing the perimeter, trying to find a crack. The ones who will thrive in this energy aren't the ones shouting their truth from rooftops. They are the ones who know how to move like thunder without making a sound. Your silence is not a void. It's a shield. And if you break it, you might just break the protection you've worked so hard to cultivate. Think back to that promise you made recently. The one that didn't require words, but changed everything. Maybe it came after a heartbreak or a pattern you swore never to repeat. Maybe it was a private moment of reckoning, where your soul whispered, "No more." That vow wasn't casual. It was a spiritual contract, a line drawn in energy. And now August is tempting you to speak it aloud. But be warned. The moment you name it, you invite its shadow back to test you. That's how this energy works. It pokes, prods. It sends old cravings and old names back into your orbit under the guise of coincidence. But nothing is random right now. Everything is designed to see if you'll flinch, if you'll fold, if you'll speak what should remain unspoken. Because the moment you talk about it like it's still alive, you make it think it still has a seat at your table. Not everyone around you will understand this. Some will say you've changed, that you seem distant, cold, withdrawn. They'll ask why. They'll want explanations. But that's not your burden. You are not here to justify your evolution to those still clinging to your old self. You are not obligated to narrate your healing journey for those who only ever saw you in fragments. Let your decisions speak for you. Let your boundaries do the talking. And when in doubt, say less. When you speak less, the universe listens more. That is the secret of this season. The energy doesn't want your words. It wants your integrity. So move with quiet clarity. Walk like someone who remembers the vow they made with God, with spirit, with themselves, and doesn't need witnesses to make it real. You'll notice yourself pulling away from certain things now. Things that look good on the surface. People you once trusted. Communities that used to feel like home. Opportunities that should make sense but somehow don't. You might not have a logical explanation for it. You just know. You feel it in your body, in your breath. Something's off. And as you withdraw, questions will come. People will notice. They'll ask what happened, why you're not showing up like before, why you're saying no now. Let them ask. You're not here to manage anyone's perception. You're here to honor your soul's precision. And sometimes that means retreating, not because you're afraid, but because you're listening. Because you're attuned to something deeper, something that most people wouldn't even recognize if you tried to explain it. And here's the deeper truth. Even if you tried to explain it, they wouldn't understand. Not really, because the knowing you carry now doesn't live in words. It lives in your nervous system, in your boundaries, in the way you stay silent when every part of you wants to defend your choice but doesn't. That's spiritual maturity. That's spiritual sovereignty. August is teeming with energies that thrive on confusion. Their goal isn't to destroy you. It's to make you second-guess yourself just enough to reopen the doors you already closed. They don't need to break in. They just need you to crack the window. And the easiest way in is always through conversation. If they can get you explaining, they can get you unraveling. They can take your sacred no and turn it into a soft maybe. But silence? Silence is untouchable. Silence is sacred. When you choose not to explain, you protect the part of you that knows. You signal to the universe that your clarity is more important than anyone else's comfort. And the universe responds to that with more protection, more clarity, more alignment. So whatever you're backing away from now, trust it. Even if it doesn't make sense yet. Even if everyone around you is telling you you're overreacting. You're not. You're just listening to something they can't hear. Spirit is already 10 steps ahead, steering you away from paths that would have drained your life force. Away from people who would have smiled in your face and fed off your light. This isn't a time to defend your discernment. It's a time to stand in it. Quietly, powerfully, without bending. You don't have to make sense to anyone right now. You only have to make sense to the part of you that's already seen what's coming. So if the questions come, and they will, smile, nod, let them talk, let them guess. You don't owe them anything, not even your silence explained. Because the people who are meant to understand already feel it. They won't need words. And those who demand them were never meant to walk beside you anyway. Remember, not everyone who glows is golden. And not everyone who watches you rise is clapping. Let your silence be your clarity. Let your distance be your protection. Let your mystery be your boundary. Because this month, power belongs to those who know what to reveal and what to guard like holy fire. Silence does not always mean sleep, and stillness does not mean you're disengaged. Those who are quiet now are not dormant, they are deliberate. August isn't coming to lull you into comfort or ease. It's arriving as a test. Not the kind of test that announces itself with chaos, but one that watches in the silence, gauging how well you can hold your power without showcasing it. This isn't about your ability to speak beautifully, inspire loudly, or glow publicly. It's about containment, discernment, discipline. It's about your sacred ability to carry divine light without spilling a drop. August isn't here to hand you answers or clarity. In fact, it may stir more questions than you're ready for. But that's the point. This month is not the resolution. It's the refinement. You're being asked to hold your center even when you're not certain. To withstand temptation without slipping back into old patterns. To walk with faith before the path is fully lit. Because the real revelations, they don't arrive until September. September is the unveiling, the reckoning. It's when the invisible becomes visible, and the truth, your truth, will echo louder than anything you've ever spoken out loud. What you say and share in August isn't forgotten. Every word, every withheld truth, every boundary you either uphold or betray, weaves itself into your future. You're planting energetic seeds now, whether you realize it or not. And in September, those seeds begin to sprout. Some of what grows will be divine and golden, evidence that you honored your own frequency when it mattered most. But some harvests may taste bitter, even confusing, especially for those who leaked what was meant to be held sacred. You see, August is like a spiritual encryption period. A time when your silence is not absence, it's protection. It's code. It's wisdom wrapped in invisibility. And in September, the field doesn't reward who shouted the loudest or looked the brightest. It rewards those who were loyal to their alignment. The ones who didn't sell their insight for approval. The ones who held their ground while others rushed to speak. The ones who understood that sacred knowledge is not currency. It's covenant. Those who gave away too much too soon may not vanish physically, but their resonance will change. You'll feel it. Their frequency will seem thinner, more unstable, no longer fortified. Their words might still sound spiritual, but the vibration will feel off because they spoke too early, shared too recklessly, or built on shaky ground. Meanwhile, those who kept their center intact during August's pressure will begin to radiate something different. Their silence will translate into strength. Their absence will reveal itself as architecture. They were building in the unseen. They weren't avoiding the world. They were preparing to meet it on a higher level. Their frequency will carry clarity, rootedness, and power that needs no announcement. That's what September reveals. And when the lights come on, the contrast will be undeniable. Suddenly, those who tried to perform their power will be exposed next to those who cultivated it in silence. You will feel who is solid and who is hollow. You will sense who merely talked the path and who truly walked it, quietly, consistently, and without asking for applause. And yes, some will try to re-enter your energetic space as if nothing happened. Some who cracked under the pressure of August will want back in. They'll try to reframe, to rebrand, to rewrite what their spirit already revealed. But you won't be fooled. Your soul will remember. And you didn't make it through August's test just to start doubting yourself in September. If you kept your silence, you didn't fall behind, you moved ahead. If you withheld your revelations, you didn't lose, you preserved what was still ripening. Every time you felt the urge to speak, to explain, to post, to prove, and you chose instead to pause and hold it, that was your initiation. That was the code. That was the next level unlocking. But September brings a new challenge, a new pressure. Now it's no longer just about protecting your light. It's about carrying it. In public, with discernment. Will you reclaim your voice and wield it wisely? Or will you fall back into needing external affirmation, offering your hard-won insights to be twisted into someone else's agenda? You were asked to go silent, not to disappear, but to discern. You were taught to hold back, not out of fear, but out of respect for what you were receiving. Now comes the moment where silence must give way to speech, but not all speech is sacred. This next phase is about whether you can speak from that sacred space without dilution. Can you reveal what's real without sacrificing its essence? Can you remain loyal to your truth even under the pressure to share it? There's a power that comes from silence, and there's an even greater one that comes from choosing when and how to break it. You're not here to explain your transformation. You're here to embody it. Not everyone needs to know the path you took. Not everyone deserves the map. The ones who see your light now don't need directions. They can feel the frequency. That's the shift we're stepping into, where words fall short and energy speaks for itself, where no post, no caption, no performance can substitute for integrity, and where the field isn't fooled by sound, only by signal. So if you feel the temptation to speak before your vision is rooted, pause. If you feel the urge to declare something that's still unfolding, wait. You are not late. You are on sacred timing. And your silence is not passive, it's active protection. Because some truths must be lived before they are spoken. Some wisdoms must be embodied before they are shared. And some power must be guarded before it can ever be wielded. So honor the seeds you planted in August. And when September rises, let what you've built in silence speak so loudly it doesn't even need words.